driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline-pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now. You're sitting with the Slimy Bastards. Take it away, Jason.
Alrighty, another episode of Sitting with the Slimy Bastards, and I've been pumped for this episode. I've been talking with Mikey Doling for quite a while. I've known Mikey. I've actually met Mikey a half a dozen times out on Soulfly, a bunch of different times when I was doing the Roadrunner Street Team stuff, and I'm pleased to have him on to the show. So thanks for the time. It's right before Thanksgiving, and I can't be more happier to have this guest on with me today. So with that being said, welcome to the Slimy Bastard podcast show, Mikey, and how you been, man?
Thanks for having me, and happy holidays. We're festive here in the house. We're just about to have Thanksgiving. I know you are as well. Good times, man. Doing well.
You know, I want to jump right into some stuff here of how the first time I actually ever met you was in Denver, Colorado, and you were on the Soulfly tour. You just joined up with Soulfly then. I believe if my memory is correct, I want to say you were out on tour then with Godsmack and the Jim Rose Circus. Does that ring a bell? Is that?
I don't think that's it. No, I don't remember touring with Godsmack. Although Shannon Larkin of Godsmack is one of my best friends, but
yeah,
we never got to tour with those guys.
Which, by the way, who used to be in the band Amen. A lot of people don't know that. Of
Mighty Amen, which was 3/5 Snot, actually.
So how you been? You look good, by the way.
Thank you, man. I've been working on it, been eating right and laying off the drinking and playing a lot of guitar. This is my new custom Strat.
Oh, nice.
It's badass, man.
Yeah.
It's a mod shop Strat. It's really cool, Fender. And I had it custom made. I've been playing the hell out of that. And then I got my Les Paul that I actually recorded Get Some, the Snot album, Get Some with that guitar.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it, but that's my baby right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've been just doing a lot of guitar playing.
You know, the early days with Snot and that, and of course the timely passing and everything, which everyone knows about and everything. But with that all being said, how did you walk into the Soulfly gig?
Well, first of all, I want to, since you brought it up, man, Lynn Strait, my brother, best friend, singer Snot. We miss him to this day. It's been 25 years, and it's no easier today than it was back then. But that being said, how I jumped into Soulfly was Snot was touring a lot with Soulfly, and prior to Lynn's passing, and I made good friends with Max and the family, and it was like 3 weeks after Lynn passed. I guess Soulfly had parted ways with Logan Mader, the mighty Logan Mader, who I love so much as well. And they called me to fill in because they had an Australian tour booked. Also going to Japan after Australia. It was New Zealand, Australia, Japan. So they called me with 8 days notice to go do this tour. And they were like, hey, man, can you learn the set in 8 days and fly out to New Zealand and start a tour? And absolutely, it was so soon after Lynn's passing, I didn't want to do. The first feeling was like, I can't muster up I couldn't do it. I'm so hurting. My best friend had just died. And so Gloria called me, Max's wife, and I told her, look, I got to think about it. And she literally said, look, man, we don't have time for thinking. We got 8 days to fly out. I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes. And I mean,
Yeah.
I love Blow, but so I was actually sitting with the bass player of Snot Tumor, and I hung up the phone. And he heard the conversation. He looked at me like, "Dude, you got to go. You got to do it." So I was like, "Yeah, I know. Okay." So I called her right back and said, "Yeah, I'll go." And so they gave me a set of like 16 songs, and I just got to learn it, man. Woodshed, chopping away at the songs because I'd never played with them, but I toured with them, so I knew the songs from hearing them very well.
Right.
So I had 8 days to get it down. I flew out to Phoenix, and we're actually supposed to have one rehearsal, but
Uh-huh.
it was Max's son's birthday, and we ended up at Chuck E. Cheese because his son was like really young. I don't know, 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
Instead of going to rehearsal, and so I just sat there with him at Chuck E. Cheese, which is hilarious, with headphones on and cheat sheets. I'm writing out stuff. And the next day we flew to New Zealand to start the tour, and that was with Korn, Marilyn Manson, Hole. It was like the Big Day Out Festival tour,
Uh-huh.
9 dates or 8 dates or something like that through Australia. So I'm sorry I'm going long in the story here, but this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm literally in the plane, 15 hours or whatever the flight was, just listening, you know, trying to lock it all in.
Sure.
Plus, I'm a little nervous. The first show was a soccer stadium, you know. So we're backstage, and now I'm writing cheat sheets to tape down on the stage, 'cause I'd never
Right.
rehearsed with the band, but I'm stepping on stage with them.
Uh-huh.
So we got all the cheat sheets on the stage. I'm backstage, still rehearsing up to the moment we were walking to the stage. I'm still holding my guitar. And we're walking, we got the intro on, and the whole stadium's going, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. Game time, no rehearsals, rock this shit. And
Yeah.
we walk into the stage, and Max is in front of me, and I'm walking behind him, and Roy Mayorga and Marcelo Diaz are all walking to the stage,
Sure.
and we're walking up the ramp back of the stage, and Max turns around, looks at me, and goes, "Hey, you know the shit, right?" I'm like, "You asking me now? That's what's going in my brain." And yeah, I just said, "Yeah, I got this," and I ended up just, yeah, kicking ass on the show and the rest of the tour. The rest is
You,
history. I came home from the tour. They had another one in Europe, called me back. And then I think by the end of the European tour, they had asked if I would stay in the band. And of course, I did for 5 years,
uh-huh.
2 records. Yeah, it
You
was
know, and
amazing. I had a good time with them.
I and I want to get into the Snot stuff here in a minute and that, but the reason why I bring up the Soulfly stuff is just because I mean that's really in my mind, and obviously everyone has their own opinions in that, but in my mind, I think that's actually probably one of the best times of Soulfly's period. I think that band lined up and everything was just so solid and with you in it. And
Thank you. I mean, I really enjoyed the lineup for sure. It was Roy and Marcelo, and we had, and I think it was a really high time for SoFly. We were killing it. We were doing 5,000 seaters headlining and then playing
sure,
festivals. But that being said, I mean, they had good lineups after. I mean, Rizzo was just an amazing guitar player. I'm
right.
not going to take nothing from that. It was great, but I have heard quite often from fans, they're going to tell me that, of course, that was their favorite lineup, and I'm really proud to have been a part of that for sure.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just because of the time frame, though, too, because you're in the band
I
from
see.
what 99 to what 2004, 2005. Is that
Yeah,
correct, or
something like
somewhere in
that.
there?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
2004 or something.
And I think just that time frame and everything that was the second Soulfly album just came out. Obviously, you were a
Oh,
part of
that one?
Soulfly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I mean, there is just I would say probably the most uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Highlight, or I shouldn't say highlight, but the high times of Soulfly at that time of just because of all the notoriety
Well,
of going
I think
on
they're
with
still having high times. I don't want to like downplay what they're doing now. They're kicking
No,
ass.
no, absolutely
When
not.
I was in
No.
the band, it was amazing. It was an amazing time for Soulfly. It was still new. People were really excited, and
Right.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I want to be
Right.
careful.
Right. And I'm a huge Soulfly fan. I mean, Christ, I got the fucking tattoo on my leg of them. So yeah.
It was
Um,
my Soulfly
but
hand grenade.
right, but what I mean though with everything is you got Ozfest going on every summer. You guys were a major part of that, and I actually got to
The
experience some of
headlines
that.
second.
Um,
Oh, cool.
and
Wow.
hell, I even got pictures of you screwing around with Jack Osborne
Yeah,
backstage, and
yeah.
a lot of people don't even know that Jack Osborne really handpicked a lot of those second stage bands for that tour or
I've
for the
heard that
Ozfest.
before. He was pretty
Yeah,
young, but I've heard that before. And maybe he has something to do with it. Yeah.
yeah. And
You
speaking of the
when I was
Ozfest
in
stuff,
Snot, sorry to cut you off from
oh
talking
no,
another Ozfester, but speaking of Snot, Ozzy and Sharon and Mike Gordon, who was in drumming in Ozzy, and Sharon, oh, excuse me, and Rob Trio, they were so
uh-huh.
supportive of Snot. They'd come over and watch us every day. And there was even a few times when Sharon grabbed me and said, "Hey, watch the kids. We got to go do some stuff with some interviews, whatever Ozzy and her had
Yeah,
to do." So I had the kids up on the bus a couple times hanging out with us, and they're really young, Kelly
yeah,
and Jack, and it was pretty surreal babysitting Ozzy's and Sharon's kids.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah,
now I
because
see him out there
at that time they're like probably in the early teenage years.
earlier. I think even yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they were really young.
yeah.
Hmm.
Looking back on that, and you look back on the Ozfest, like I think, honestly, I think is that 2000 or 2001 lineup when Pantera was one of the headliners. Um,
I think that was
Godsmack was
2000.
another. Yeah,
That was
I
2000
think that.
because Soulfly was on that, and we toured
Yep.
that tour with Pantera.
Yeah, and Kitty,
Yeah,
Deadlights. I mean, Christ, Deadlights. I think is another underrated band that a lot of people don't really even know about.
yeah,
But just some of those bands that were on that tour is just mind blowing. Now you see at that time, and now you see some of these bands starting to come back up and through, making a comeback. And that's where
no
I
doubt.
think it's great that like what you're doing with this Snot project again, Solo. I want to get into that quick. It's been
Sure.
announced that you're doing some stuff with Snot again. What can you tell us? What are we expecting to see coming up in 2025 with this?
Snot's busy. We got a new singer. He's amazing. He nails it, man. He nails it hard. He's super good. Looks great. Great personality. Great human. We love him a lot. Um, it's the original lineup. It's all the
Uh-huh.
original guys: Jamie, Toomer, Sonny, myself, with our new vocalist.
Yep.
Um, and we weren't quite sure what we were going to get out of this. At first, it was like, "Hey, let's just do some gigs local." I didn't know, so I called
Yeah.
TKO, which is a booking agency, the Kirby organization, TKO. I called
Uh-huh.
Alex Gilbert over there and asked him if there would be interest in Snot. So he went out and checked it out and put some feelers out there, and boom, the Danny Wimmers Festival came to us with Rockville. And I think there might be more in the pot. I don't want to say much. There is one other one confirmed. I'm not allowed to talk too much till they,
Sure.
but um, they came back and put us on the main stage, man. And boom, we're
Yeah.
like, whoa. And that was press. And that just kind of sparked an avalanche of shit coming on top of us. We've gotten multiple tour offers, which I don't want to talk about yet. Everything's just happening.
Right.
Um, we just booked Alcatraz in Europe in Belgium, which is one of my favorite festivals in the world.
Uh-huh.
Um, we also got a festival I can't even pronounce the name, but I do have it written down. Booked in France, and that's called Moto Cooler. It's in France. It's like a French word. That's a big one. And then in between those two festivals, we booked a full UK tour, starting in London, going all the way through England into Scotland, and ending at that festival in France. So we're busy. We're talking to this kick-ass band. I don't know if I should talk about it, but I will. this one
Yeah.
because they're a Japanese band called Bones in
Bones.
Japan,
Like, okay.
who are amazing. I love this band. The vocalist is a big fan of Snot. I found their band recently. I like them a lot. And we're in the works and we're talking about us going over to Japan in early 2026 to go do a tour with them, which would be really cool if that works out. I think it will. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're fucking busy, man, and it's actually quite shocking to be back and just have the avalanche of shit piled on us right away. Like the
Right.
first 2 weeks, we're like, whoa, and so that's been great.
Well, it kind of goes to show what legacy was left behind, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Of what,
One record.
right.
We recorded that
And
record 27 years ago, man. Get some.
so with that being said, are you gonna do, I mean, obviously the album Straight Up, which you guys did after Lynn's passing and that, which is a phenomenal record, a bunch of handful. I mean, you had some big name guests on that. Are you guys planning on doing any of that kind of stuff live with any of this?
Well, first of all, a lot of people think that the Straight Up record were songs for the second Snot record, which is
Uh-huh.
not the case at all. There was a few riffs we had. That's it.
Yeah.
And then when Lynn passed, we were mourning hard, man. And somehow we came up with the idea of doing a tribute record for him. And it became really, really difficult to actually execute that record with all those singers and putting the
Sure.
album together, the music. Shannon from Godsmack actually plays drums on that. I don't know if people know
Uh-huh.
that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up. That wasn't our second album. That was a strict tribute to Lynn. So, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Are you guys planning on doing anything off of that album? Like,
Off of
do you interact or to put in with the set that you guys are going to do with Snot? I mean, because there were some big songs in that, you know?
there's a couple songs I'd like to do. I know we're doing Absent. We're gonna play Absent, which was the song we did for a movie, but something else straight up. I'm leaning towards Starlit Eyes, which Serge from System sang on. Um, I'd like to play that live. That might
Okay.
be one that might make the set list.
Yeah. You know, I always loved, I mean, one with Max, I believe, what was that? Reaching Out, I believe. This is just so fucking heavy. I mean, it was really, really heavy. Um,
Thank you. My son's
yeah.
running back and
Oh,
forth.
so yeah, speaking of your son, he's a lot older now. Are you going to bring him out on any of this stuff to see, so
He's
he can
coming out to
experience
these.
this?
We got these three Southern California dates booked. It's January 17th at the House of Blues, which sold out in one day. It's in the
Really?
Parish Room. It's not the big room, but
Uh-huh.
it's still big, pretty big. It sold out in one day.
Right.
It's like a 350 cap capacity, but it sold out in 24 hours. So we're blown away. And that's January 17th. And the next day is January 18th in San Diego at Brick by Brick, which is getting close to being sold out too.
Yeah.
7 weeks in advance, which is bitching. We just put the
Yeah.
tickets on sale a few days ago.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a real special one, February 8th in Santa Barbara. Um, that's Snot's hometown.
Okay. Yep.
And we have a special guest band coming up. And I'm not really, we were going to start promoting that later, like in maybe a week or two, but I'll say it on your podcast because
Sure.
it's cool. It's Shavo from System of a Down's new band.
Oh, really?
I mean, he's still got System, of course, but he has another
Yeah.
band called 7 Hours Violet. And it's fucking badass, crushing. So I called Shavo and asked him if he'd like to join us in Santa Barbara. And he said, yep. So I haven't even announced that yet. They don't even
Oh,
know if they're
really?
in Santa Barbara. The tickets are for sale, but they don't know he's coming up. But if they see this, they're gonna know, which is fine. I
Yeah.
want to leak it. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna come up and do a full set before we play. So it's gonna be
Awesome.
bitching. Yeah.
The Brick by Brick there in San Diego, that's actually kind of a cool little club there of and
Yeah.
do they still have the cage around that? It always reminded me of the old what was that movie back in the 70s, the Blues Brothers with the cage,
Um,
you know?
dude, I haven't been there in fucking 25 years, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably about the
Snot used
last
to
time I was
crush
there
it.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Snot used to kill it down there, and that's why we booked it. We thought, you know, a few exclusive shows to get our legs under us. And we
yeah,
went with Orange County, which is Anaheim, San
yeah,
Diego. We're not playing LA yet. We're going to. We just want to kind of get our legs under us with some shows. But so we're doing Orange County, San Diego, and Santa Barbara, which we used to just stomp back in the day.
yeah.
So yeah, of course, brick by brick. As a matter of fact, if there's tickets available, go get them before it sells out. If you see watching this podcast.
It is a cool little club though. Like I said, I haven't been in there probably about 20, 25 years as well, but I remember it of having that little cage, like the old school wire, the chicken wire wrapped around the stage.
No, but sure, sure. I know it's a fucking yeah, it's quite rough. It can be rough.
Yeah,
We actually had some fights in that from the stage, jumping out into the crowd. Lynn did because the security were roughing up our fans, and Lynn jumped out, started swinging with security, and they let us get
yeah.
back on stage and finish the show. We've had some rowdy shows there, man.
And like I said, it is one of them type of clubs that you could see that kind of stuff going down too. You know what I mean? Of
And the fact they let us get back on the stage and play after we're literally fighting with security, fist fighting.
yeah, yeah,
And they're like, all right, everybody calm down, get back on stage, finish the show. Yeah, it was cool.
yeah. What of all the clubs and that you played, I mean, obviously you've been around with Soulfly and some of the other bands that you played with and that, but what would you say would be one of the highlight ones that you always enjoyed going to just because of the atmosphere and
You mean what?
crowd?
Show?
Yeah, yeah,
Fuck, man. No. That's hard to say, man. I mean, there's so many great places. Roseland Ballroom in New York City was always unfucking believable. That was amazing. I love that place. I mean, the Roxy, even though it's a small club in LA, God, that's where Snot, like, we literally learned and honed our stage was the Roxy, and our manager owned the Roxy. So always loved playing there.
uh-huh,
Um, I mean, shit, it's hard to say, dude. The Fillmore in Denver, Colorado is great.
yeah.
The London Astoria, fucking amazing. It's hard to say, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is kind of that. I know it's a hard question just because there is so many cool places around. And
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've seen you guys like even up in Minneapolis, Des Moines, out in Denver,
That's
in
the First
Idaho.
Avenue, right? First
Yeah, there's
Avenue?
First Avenue. Then I think the time
And
that I've seen you
Quest,
guys, the Quest Club,
both
um,
cool.
with Primer 55 is right after the Oz
Yeah.
Festival.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
Um,
Great band.
and yeah, there's another band that they lost the lead singer there
Jason.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
but yeah, no, that it just seeing some of the clubs and that and the way they change and everything. But I'm so glad I got to experience a lot of this stuff even before, like even Omaha, Nebraska, with the bowling. There's a bowling alley right next to it.
Fucking
Of
bowling alley. Yeah. The Rock and
um,
Bowl or something.
it was the Rose Bowl.
Was that what
Was
it was
that?
called? Rose
I
Bowl?
think it
I
was
think
something
it was
like
Rock
that.
and Bowl.
It was funny because I was talking to the guys of Typo Negative on one of my past episodes of my podcast. They're involved with the Sun Don't Shine, and we actually were talking about that same place as well. But how you could go bowl a quick game and then go jump on stage.
100%, dude. We used to do exactly that. Go bowling and come back and play a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm not going to pry into this just because my podcast isn't about all this. But can you give us any hints on who this singer is and how you found him and everything?
I'll tell you how I found him, but I'm not going to tell you who he is because we're going to wait
Okay.
until he. The thing is, if I give his name up, right, social media, people jump on there, they start
Yeah.
scrutinizing him immediately before he's even
Sure.
saying a note, you know?
No, I respect
Um,
that.
yeah, and I don't want to put that pressure on him at all. And we already talked
Sure.
about it. So we're going to wait, get him
Yeah.
on stage, let people see how he is. And it's going to come out. He's amazing, but we just want to make sure it's rolled out correctly and
Sure.
good. And good for him, I should say. Um, But how I found him, was I don't know, 4 months ago or 3 months ago, something like that. I put something just silly on Facebook,
Uh,
looking for singers to sing Snot. That's it, right?
yeah.
And I got crushed with feedback. People, hey, I'm good. I can do it. I can do it. So I ended up getting like 8 videos and some audio of people singing to the record, singing to get some. And none of them were quite there. They just didn't fit. Some of them were good singers, but it just didn't work. I could see right away. And then kind of was giving up. And then my friend Sarah in Santa Barbara, she texted me and said, "Hey, I just saw this band and they were great. And the lead singer reminded me of Lynn. And I'm telling you, you got to check them out." And in my mind, I was kind of like, yeah, I've heard that before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But sure. And she's great, good friend. Um, and I asked her to contact him and give him my number and tell him to call me. So he called
Yeah.
me and I said the same thing. I said, "Hey, man, make a video of you singing to get some. Just put the CD on his, or CD. It's funny to say CD. Put the album on and sing to it." And what he did is he has another band. He went to the
Uh-huh.
rehearsal space, right? And stood in front of the amps, the
Yep.
drums, and a bunch of posters and put get some through the PA system and took a handheld mic, wrapped the cable around his arm, and fucking rocked it like a show,
Yeah.
right? And recorded it and sent it to me like a few days after I'd spoken to him. And when he sent it to me, I was fucking blown away. I was literally like, I knew immediately, like in the first 30 seconds, like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
And I watched 5 songs, and was blown away. I was like, all right, this is him. We got it. We got it. This is the guy. So I sent it to Toomer, John Fonestock, our bass player for Snot. He's like my right arm, my brother. And he's also a bit cynical, if you will. So
Yeah.
the true test is getting it through him.
Right.
So I sent it to him, and he immediately called me. It was like, "Fuck, holy shit balls," was his exact words. We found our guy. I'm like, right? I thought so too. I just wanted to be sure I wasn't wrong or hallucinating here. And no, he's the man. He immediately was in. So then I sent it over to Jamie and Sonny, and everybody was on board, man. And then I called TKO and said, "Start booking. We're preparing." And then, of course, the rest is history. Now we got shows and tours and all kinds of cool stuff.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I would be pretty excited by all this. Are you planning on doing like a US type deal? Is that something that could be in the works coming up?
You know what? We've been offered some stuff already that's impossibly hard to turn down. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, big shit. I don't want to say who, but there's some three bands have already offered us tour dates across the U.S. And we actually right now. Sorry, I'm just getting over being sick. So,
No, you're good.
but uh, we're not in a position to take full on tour across the U.S. right now. We haven't even played our first show back.
Right.
So we're like, you know what? We're gonna have to sit tight, go knock out these shows, and evaluate where we really are. You know, we haven't played together in so many years, and unfortunately, I mean, everything in my soul wants to take. There's one tour I can't really say who it is. I keep saying that, sorry, but it's a big
Yeah.
fucking one. We have to turn it down because we're just not in a place where we can commit like that yet. So we're going
Uh,
to see how these shows go, and there's probably going to be a few more things, and kind of reevaluate um, what we really can do. So
yeah.
there will be. I mean, I'm pretty damn sure we're going to end up on the road and doing some big shit. I mean, we're already doing those festivals in UK, right? As a
Right.
headliner, in the UK and stuff. But
Sure.
in these festivals, we got to do those. But we'll see, man. You know,
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing too is you don't know what the how the obviously things are going good right now, but you just don't know how well the jam or the band is going to gel after things get rolling too. If that makes sense.
As a band, we already know
Yeah,
we can take 10 years off not playing with each other. If we walk into
sure.
a room, locked. So we're not
Yeah,
really worried about what we're going to sound like. We know it's going to be good. But we're all a bit older. We have families, and some guys are working.
yeah,
We have to see where we're at and how committed we want to get as far as the long term tours go. We'll
right.
see.
So with that being said, Mikey, what else? I mean, you were involved with a lot of different stuff back in the early 2000s and everything. Are you still doing anything like on just on your own or just writing stuff just for your own private stuff? Or are you doing
Oh,
anything for like,
yeah, fuck yeah. I got a project besides Channel Zero.
uh-huh,
Um, I have a project with Aaron Nordstrom from Gemini Syndrome, right?
okay,
With
yep,
four guys in Belgium, and we're called Coyote. And it's a project I'm doing with Aaron. We're writing together and recording songs with Chris Collier, who's a producer who just did the last two Corn records and Prong, and he's just an amazing producer, great guy, great, awesome. So yeah, I've recorded a record. We released it like I don't know, a year ago, a little over. And that's Coyote, like Coyote, but with a W,
right,
Coyote.
right, yeah,
And the record is called Mother of the Universe. If you go to Spotify, you can check it out. I'm playing all the instruments on it except for the drums, of course, and the
sure,
vocals. And Aaron and I wrote all the songs on it, so it's pretty cool. If you want to check out some of my later newer stuff, go
yeah.
check out Coyote. And that's Mother of the Universe is the name of the record. Because there's another Coyote, but it's like a I don't know, a house music thing. Some two girls in New York. So make sure you get the right one. So
People turn it on like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, right, right. No, check out Mother of the Universe. It's cool.
Yeah. I think the last time I seen you in person was on the Jägermeister tour with Hell Yeah and God damn, who was that? And you, if I remember right,
Jägermeister?
yeah, I'm pretty sure
Maybe
it was one of the
I think it was
you were
in
in some
vitro.
band.
We're tinfoil on our head and
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. What was the name of that? It's been bugging me
In
all these
vitro.
years.
It
In
was
V.
strictly fun, just a bunch of dudes having a good time. We weren't trying to do anything other than just be complete clowns. But we wrote a
Yeah.
fucking great record. When I Was a Planet, we released that. It's a killer album. It's super punk rock. It's like a surf punk thing.
Uh-huh.
And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, we were touring with Hell Yeah. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, I remember the tinfoil. I was like, what the fuck is this going on here? And it was
Yeah,
really
we
good
were
though.
everyone wore lab coats, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was nuts, man. God, we drank so much on those tours, we had to actually break the band up so we didn't die. We're completely insane, man.
Yeah, I just remember walking into it is in Blackfoot, Idaho, and we walked into a bar, and it just so happened that was the night I met Sarge, who was one of the security guys for Jägermeister or the part of the Jaeger team. Um,
Uh-huh.
and it just so happens that um, he was my second cousin. Him and my dad were first cousins, and we
Found out
put
that night.
yeah, we just found out. We just met that night. We started talking, and I'm originally from Iowa. I moved back to Iowa, and we started talking about our families being in Iowa. And it just so happened, and my dad was living in Idaho at the time, and had he would have known that he was there because he was about 20 minutes from where this show was, he would have came down and met us. But we walked into a bar that night there in Blackfoot, Idaho. It's just this tiny, small little bar. I don't know if you remember this or not. I got a shit ton of pictures from this, but we closed down the bar. And them Jaeger tours, you walk in and it's all Jägermeister, Sydney Frank products at the time. and it's an open bar basically, but you weren't allowed to drink anything else but Jaeger stuff or beer. And it was
Should
a
we put
fucking
a
party.
ton of that away? Oh yeah. Hey, hey, Jax, close the door, buddy. It's my
And
son.
that was
He's playing with his buddies. Who's yelling, "Thank you."
oh yeah, that was
My kid.
that was when the Lizard Man was the MC then, and we walked in
Hey,
and people are looking at everybody like, who the fuck are these guys? But as soon as there's an open bar, no one had to pay a tab. Boy, they didn't care who was there, you know. But yeah, it was a fun night. But with that being said, Mikey, I appreciate the time. Thanks for the updates. Great catching up with you
sure.
again and seeing you're doing great. You look great, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward to seeing you out on the road with this, hopefully, and hopefully we catch up at a show one of these days. And
Sounds good.
best of luck with the shows out there in California and your festivals and everything. And
Thank you.
for those that don't know how to find you, where can people find you and get a hold of you
You
and
know
that?
what? We got that Facebook Snot Band Facebook. Just go on there, follow us, subscribe, whatever it is. Um, and I actually communicate on that Facebook page. Like people hit me on Messenger. I'm like, hey, what's up? So
Yeah,
I'm down to talk, and I actually share a lot on there. And we got another Snot Band Instagram. And since we haven't been around in a long time, they're kind of new. Like I think the Instagram's only got like 7 or 8,000 people on it.
yeah,
So go ahead and get in there and pile on. We're trying to grow those numbers, and the Facebook I know is kind of old school, but I like that one. I
yeah.
have a lot of
Well,
good times communicating on there. So Snot Band, just go find it and we'll be there.
and with that being said, I appreciate everyone checking out my podcast show and everything. Find us on Facebook and TikTok, and of course Spotify and YouTube. And
Yep.
go out and check out the new Snot stuff that Mikey's coming up with. Mikey, is great catching up with you again, and best of luck. Oh, I wanted
Yep.
to ask you this, and I just popped in my mind before I let you go. Do you still talk to Max or any of them guys?
Um, I've seen Max here and there at festivals, and yeah, I usually go up on the bus and hang out and rap out with him. And I'm real close with Glow and the family. I love them very much, man. They're
Yeah,
yeah, still friends.
good, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
So, anyway, with that being said, thanks to Tom's Fishing and Guiding Hunting Services for the sponsorship, and thanks, Gary. And until next time, toodaloo, buckaroo.
Pit Stop Motorsports, dirt tracks racing, largest inventory trackside parts service. We keep racers on the track, located in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and coming to a track near you. Check us out on Facebook at Pit Stop Motorsports. And tell Slade Pitt the slimy bastards sent you.
Driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now, you're sitting with the slimy bastards.